So, hallo herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Runde Let's Play Zero Escape, 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. Ich habe mich jetzt entschieden, wie ich das mache. Also ich habe jetzt zwei Wege, die ich noch nicht gegangen bin und ich habe vor, mich bei diesem Punkt dafür zu entscheiden, durch Tür 8 zu gehen. Durch Tür 7 sind wir gegangen, durch Tür 3 sind wir gegangen, fehlt noch Tür 8. Entsprechend werde ich jetzt dazu springen und in dieser Folge gehen wir durch Tür 8 und schauen, wo wir danach landen. Beziehungsweise was hinter Tür 8 ist.
I think I'm gonna go with door 8.
Okay, 8 it is.
Yeah.
Alright then, that means June's gotta go through 7.
What? Why?
What?
Sander grimaced and muttered angrily to himself, but finally began to explain.
If the 6 of us are gonna keep going without leaving anyone behind, there are only 3 ways we can do it.
Plan A.
Have 3, 5, and 8 go through 7, and 4, 6, and 7 go through 8.
Plan B.
4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8.
Plan C.
Or 3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5, and 8 get 8. There are no other combinations. In other words, 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors. You get it now?
As Santa finished, June looked over at Junpei's, tears welling up at the corners of her eyes.
Oh no! You're saying we aren't gonna see each other again for a long time.
Junpei felt just as June did. He wanted to be at her side through whatever trials they were preparing to face. But he knew if they were to survive, he had to swallow his feelings. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked at June. He was scared to lose her, but he swallowed, steeled his resolve, and did his best to smile.
Hey, come on. You're making it sound like we're never gonna see each other again. We gotta split up, but only for a while. This is just like when we went into the 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then too, but we all met back up. I'll bet 7 and 8 are just like that.
You mean they're connected somewhere?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
She didn't sound very hopeful. It was 7 that interjected.
I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere.
Why? What makes you think so?
If they don't, then neither team can get through door 9. In other words, the game would end right here. Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible. He's not gonna end this game until we get through the 9 door.
June said nothing. The tears were gone, but her eyes were still sad as they looked at Junpei. He met them, and with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder.
Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again. I promise.
June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod.
Yes. Promise?
Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered the moment.
You guys are done, right?
He stretched and continued.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups. I figure I'll take 7 and Clover can take 8. Any problems with that, Clover?
Clover looked away and was silent for a moment.
Whatever.
It was more of a dismissal than an agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care.
Alright, we're ready to go then. Let's move.
At Santa's command, the group split and headed for their respective doors. Santa, 7, and June walked toward door 7, while Clover, Lotus, and Junpei headed toward door 8. For a long moment they stood in front of the door. Then Lotus laid her hands against her chest and turned to Junpei and Clover.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then shall we go?
It's open!
A narrow hallway stretched out before them.
Okay.
Hurry!
Lotus and Clover leapt through the door. The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. The detonators in the bracelets had been activated. Junpei stepped forward to follow them. But as he was about to step over the threshold, he stopped. He looked to his left, toward door 7. June stood there, a mirror image of Junpei. She turned and looked toward him. Their eyes met.
June.
Jumpy.
They nodded. Their farewell took almost 1.5 seconds.
What the hell are you doing?
Then someone took hold of Junpei's arms and hauled him bodily through the door. He heard the sound of the numbered door slam shut behind him. His bracelet gave a cold electronic beep.
81 seconds left. Hurry!
Lotus snapped at him and ran to the dead.
Ugh.
Junpei and Clover followed her as fast as they could.
It stopped.
With a shaking hand, she wiped a few beads of sweat from her forehead. Clover, however, was calm, aloof perhaps.
Pointless.
She muttered to herself without emotion and began to walk down the hallway, leaving behind a confused Junpei and Lotus. Lotus watched the girl receding back with a mix of frustration and curiosity.
What an unpleasant girl. I bet she's not very popular with the boys.
Her sarcasm seemed a little more biting than was perhaps necessary, but she sighed and started after the younger girl.
Maybe pairing these two together was a mistake. Too late now. I better catch up to them.
After taking a moment to catch his breath, Junpei followed.
It's a dead end.
The hallway made a number of turns before at last coming to a dead end.
There's a door on the left, though.
For a few minutes, they stood in front of the door, examining it. Above the door was a plate with the word laboratory engraved on it.
A laboratory? Huh.
Oh, that doesn't sound very pleasant. I don't like the look of this place.
Wird interessant.
Me either. But there aren't any other doors. It's not like we have a lot of choices.
Junpei,
Huh?
please, you first.
Junpei suspected her politeness was motivated by something other than respect.
Ugh, fine.
Junpei muttered to himself and pushed open the iron door. His first steps inside were tentative and careful, but as he examined the room, it became clear that there was no imminent danger. Lotus followed him in, and Clover brought up the rear. The room they found themselves in was divided into two separate areas by a curved wall. A thick glass window built into that wall made it possible to see into the other side of the division.
You know, I think the window looks into another room.
Maybe it's for monitoring something.
Junpei walked to the window and looked through.
What the hell?
He wasn't sure what else to say. In the center of the room, shaped like a quarter circle, a mannequin lay on what looked like a medical exam table.
It looks so creepy.
Junpei jumped a little. He hadn't noticed Lotus come up next to him.
It's kind of like that doll is waiting for surgery.
This is a laboratory, right? I'd say it's more like it's waiting to be experimented on.
Ooh,
It's creepy either way. You don't think that thing's gonna suddenly sit up or something, do you?
well, I don't know. I mean, look at all those cables sticking out of it. If we press the wrong button, I don't know.
Stop it. Just thinking about it is terrifying.
She was gripping her arms, the knuckles on her hands white.
Wait, where's Clover?
She was still standing near the entrance of the room. Her face had the appearance of calm, but it was drawn and somehow sad.
What is she?
There was something almost pitiful about her. Junpei walked over to her and, as kindly as he could, spoke.
Are you okay?
Clover looked away.
What are you talking about?
What? I'm just worried about you. You've been real quiet.
What? I can't be quiet if I want to?
Well, I mean, of course you can. I just...
Okay then. If I can be quiet if I want, just leave me alone, okay?
Come on, you know I can't do that. We gotta work together.
Clover bit her lip and was silent for a
Junpei, you
moment.
just don't get it!
Then suddenly, man hat mich nicht auslesen lassen, Entschuldigung. Her cry took Junpei by surprise and he stumbled backward a few steps, alarmed.
My brother's not the kind of person who'd just leave me behind! Something happened to him! Something bad.
Stimmt, an dem Punkt wissen die noch nicht, was mit Snake passiert ist.
Yeah.
Junpei had nothing to say. Lotus, jolted from her mannequin nightmares by Clover's voice, turned toward them.
What happened?
Clover's eyes slid to Lotus, then back to Junpei.
Look, just don't bother me, okay? Leave me alone.
Finished, she turned around. Before Junpei or Lotus could say anything, Clover had begun to walk away quickly.
Hey, wait, Clover! Hold on! That way is...
I told you to leave me alone!
He might as well have been talking to a wall, for all the notice she took of his cries. Not even slowing down, she made for a doorway cut in the wall in front of her. Without even slowing down, she passed through the doorway.
Clover, watch out above you!
And without warning, an iron gate fell from the ceiling like a portcullis sealing Clover in.
What the heck? What's going on here?
Clover grabbed hold of the iron bars and shook them as hard as she could.
Hang on! I'll get it open!
Oh, for crying out. You'll never do it on your own.
Junpei grabbed the bars and pulled. In a moment, Lotus joined him. The three of them pulled as hard as they could, but...
Damn it! It's not moving!
Wait! Are you gonna give up? Just like that?
No, I'm not giving up. This has got to be another one of Zero's puzzles.
If it is, then there's gotta be a way to open it.
Junpei nodded.
Just what I was thinking. Now all we gotta do is find it. Lotus and I can look around out here. Clover, you're gonna have to see if you can find anything in there.
Oh, yes, I'm on it.
So, Laboratory, der nächste Escape Room. Hier können wir leider nur reinsehen. Junpei, do something, please. Ja gut, was können wir noch hier machen? A window made of really thick glass. I don't even think a bullet could break it. Schauen wir uns mal weiter um. Ah, hier können wir reingucken, aber schauen wir später. Was haben wir hier? This looks like a control for an electronic door. There's a red light on the display, that means it's locked. If we can get that light to turn green, maybe we can get Clover back. This looks like the control for some kind of electronic lock. The red light is on. Then it's gotta be locked. There's a green light just below it. Although that one isn't lit. I bet it'll turn on if we can unlock it, right? Yes, but how are we going to unlock it? There's no keyhole, no card reader, and no keyboard for putting in a password. I have no idea. Schauen wir uns mal weiter um. There's a lot of stuff here. I don't know how we could use any of these. Well, I can say for sure that I do know how to use at least one of these things. Which one? The one on top. I think it's a power cable. The power cable, huh? I'll take that. 3-pronged power cable. Also, ein Stromkabel. The hands on the clock have stopped moving. The clock may stop, but time goes on. No time to screw around. We need to figure out a way out of here. There are 2 levers here. Do you think they activate something? Well, why don't you move one? Alright, I'll give it a try. Nope. Doesn't look like anything's happened. Was haben wir hier? Hier brauchen wir einen Schlüssel oder so. This is a keyhole. This looks like a cure for the activation key. This is a really old type of keyboard. I think this thing's supposed to power that machine in the other room. Well, it doesn't appear to be doing that. I wonder how we're supposed to turn it on. Sonst können wir ja nichts ansehen. Nö. Hier haben wir unterschiedliche... Ah, da ist irgend was drin. Was haben wir denn hier? Ethanol. Ethanol. I wonder if this is for antisepsis. Oh, it says anhydrous ethanol. Anhydrous? Is that different from the regular ethanol? Come on, that's common knowledge. Anhydrous ethanol is a powerful cleaner. It can even erase marks left by permanent marker. Gut, anhydrous heißt in diesem Fall nur, es ist kein Wasser drin, das ist also 100%iger Ethanol. Das eignet sich sogar interessanterweise nicht mehr als Desinfektionsmittel. 70%iger, das ist ideal, 100%iger schon wieder nicht mehr. Warum, weiß ich auch nicht. A whole bunch of steel lockers. The 9 on the right all have little red lights on them. Red lights, huh? Well, we can't hurt to give these babies a try. Yep, just as I thought. Locked tight, all 9 of them. I wonder if there's anything important in there. These lockers are a little larger than the ones on top. Let's see if there's anything useful in here. And no, nothing. Vielleicht in den Kisten? They are cardboard boxes. There's some papers and stuff in them. What's in the boxes? They look quite full. As far as I can tell, it's a bunch of notes about some kind of experiment. But it's all really technical stuff and I don't really get it. Hier kann ich nicht hingucken. Hier haben wir noch diesen Rechner. Oder zumindest einen Monitor. This is the computer. The power isn't on. Well, there's a power button. This is a waste of time. What? I don't see a power cable. Oops, yeah, you're right, no power cable. This thing isn't even connected to a main computer though. It's got a monitor, keyboard, mouse, but that's it. Just sticking the power cable in isn't going to do anything. Oh, I don't know about that. Huh? Junpei, can we get back to what we were talking about, please? This computer doesn't have a power cable. No, it sure doesn't. And? Don't say and, it's rude. Have you already forgotten what I just picked up? What I just picked up? Yeah, wir haben ein 3-pronged power cable. This monitor doesn't have a power cable, so one end of this cable needs to be connected to a monitor, and the other end needs to plug in under the desk. Alright, let's just slip you in. Huh? Well, shoot, I can't use this. What's wrong? This cable has 3 prongs, but the socket only has 2 holes. It's not gonna fit, is what I'm saying. In other words, we're gonna need a plug to change the power cable to one with 2 prongs. That's right. The keyboard. The mouse. Nichts Besonderes, okay. Sonst vielleicht sollten wir mal wirklich hier durchschauen. I wonder what this is. This thing here looks like a voltmeter. Also ein Strommesser, okay, ein Spannungsmesser. And is this the control for that? Gosh, there's so many dials. Why don't you try turning one of them? Nope, nothing. There's no power here, guys. I turned the dial a whole bunch, but even if I turn all the switches on, nothing happens. Hey Clover, how are the power cables over there? Huh? What do you mean? Does the plug have 3 prongs or 2? I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go look. Guess she does have to kind of crouch down to get a look under there. The cable on the monitor is, it's got 2 of those little metal things. What does that mean? That's it. Okay, can you unplug that cable and bring it over here? Okay, but... But? Well, I can unplug it, but it's connected to the main computer. I can't take it over to you. Damn it, that's not good then. Well, how about just the plug? What? The plug. Well, maybe more like a connector? It's a sort of thing that makes the plug with the 3 metal thingies into a plug with 2 metal thingies. Still useless? Not useless, not useless, not useless at all. Verdammt, ich krieg nicht mehr das richtig hin. Es ist also ein Adapter. That's just what we were looking for. Okay. Can you hold on for a little bit? And back down she goes. Alright. Unplugged. I'll hand it over to you over at the bars, okay? Ja. Dann holen wir mal kurz das Ding ab. Here, the 2-prong plug. Thanks. Ja, das können wir natürlich direkt kombinieren. Okay. Put the 2-prong plug into the head of this power cable. Jetzt haben wir ein 2-prong power cable. Aber erstmal haben wir hier noch Ethanol. Junpei, what do I do next? For now, just have a look around. I'm definitely gonna save you. You must hang on a little longer. Okay. I'm counting on you. Was haben wir denn hier? I don't know what kind of table this is, but part of it is all black. There's a pen lying over here. I think someone probably used it to make the table black. Well, if they only used the pen on that, on one part of it, there's probably something underneath all that pen. Clover? Do you think you can erase it? Yeah, sure. Oh, this is a permanent marker. Junpei, do you know how to erase ink from a permanent marker? Erase ink from a permanent marker, huh? Give me just a minute, Clover. I'll be right back. Ja, wir haben Ethanol. Vielleicht können wir es ihr jetzt geben? Clover used this ethanol. You should be able to wipe off that permanent ink with it. What am I gonna wipe it with? Oh, well, your clothes, of course. Kidding, just kidding. Please don't look at me like that, you're scaring me. Wir haben ihr den Ethanol schon mal gegeben. Ich habe gemerkt, auch 70%iger oder so hätte es getan, wenn es darum geht, einfach ein bisschen Permanentmarker wegzuwischen. Clover, can you use that cloth on the table? Use, Soak it in ethanol and then use it to wash off all the stuff on the permanent marker, okay? Right, okay, so I gotta soak the cloth with ethanol. Well, she's got the cloth, but she seems to be having a little trouble with the bottle of ethanol. When she's ready, I should ask you to get to work on that stuff on the table. Soak the cloth in ethanol and... Junpei! It's working! It's wiping the permanent ink off! Huh? There's some kind of weird drawing under all the permanent ink. What's the deal with the drawing Clover found? Maybe I should ask her to take another look at the table. I wonder what this is. There are a bunch of numbers in some kind of grid. I can see it from here. Clover, you've got a pen and a notebook, right? Could you write those numbers down and then hand them to me through the bars? Okay. Roger. Gut, dann holen wir uns mal kurz das Ding ab. Here, Junpei. I wrote down all the numbers from the desk on here. Paper with the numbers on it acquired. New material has been added to the file screen. Clover's note. The note Clover copied from the stand in the laboratory. It has 4 numbers written in 9 separate cells. So. Okay, wofür auch immer wir das brauchen werden. Schauen wir uns mal weiter mit ihr um. Was haben wir hier? I wonder what they washed here. There are these weird colored stains all over the sink. Is this like an examination table? There's a creepy mannequin in here, guys. It's a rack. There are a bunch of cables on it. Somebody cut the outer stuff off the cables. I can see the wires inside. Okay, dann stecken wir erstmal den Computer ein, also das Kabel in den Computer. Alright, I've got the 2-pronged power cable in my hand. I'm pretty sure this will work. Under the desk I go. And let's just plug this thing into the monitor. Alright, that ought to do it. Alright, let's turn the power on. I don't think anything's going to happen. Why not? Well, it's not connected to the main computer. You never know until you try. Very optimistic. Junpei pushed the button on the front of the monitor.
That worked.
The soft hum turned on. Streams of letters that made no sense to Junpei began to scroll across the screen.
What?
He had hoped it would turn on, but he hadn't expected this.
Huh? It's running on its own?
It certainly looks like it.
Isn't that kinda weird?
What?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer, right? There's just this keyboard and monitor. The only cable connected to this thing is the power cable we just plugged in. So, why is it working?
Maybe it's a wireless display.
Clearly, this was a reasonable explanation to Lotus.
A wireless display?
Ich muss mich kurz räuspern, Entschuldigung. So, irgendwie habe ich einen Frosch im Hals.
Yes, it connects to your computer wirelessly, hence the name. Have you been living in a cave, Junpei?
He most certainly had not, but
Is that normal?
Yes, at least where I worked.
Oh.
Oh, it stopped.
Pass with a colon.
Looks like we need to enter a password.
Again? There must be a hint around here somewhere.
Could you go take a look?
Yeah, I'm on it. What are you going to do?
I'll see if I can do something about this on my own.
On your own?
Yep, on my own.
Lotus?
Lotus pulled over the nearest chair and dropped herself down onto it in front of the keyboard. For a second, she stared at the screen. She knitted her hands, knuckles popping, and twisted her back left, then right.
All right, let's kick some ass.
Lotus smiled to herself and rubbed her hands together in anticipation. Then, before Junpei had time to blink, she was typing at an incredible speed, the click-clack of the keys running together like machine gun fire.
Wait, what?
Junpei was, for once, at a loss for words.
Didn't expect that, did you?
Of course I didn't! You're typing so fast, I can't even see your fingers. What kind of job do you have? What are you?
I'm unemployed at the moment. I used to work for a cybersecurity firm, but I quit.
Why?
Lotus blinked.
Huh? Oh, it was just something.
She stopped typing for a moment and her face fell.
I see.
This was not an avenue of questioning to be pursued, Junpei realized and quickly shut his mouth. Lotus's fingers began to move again, and in a few seconds she was back up to speed. As she typed, more letters and symbols that meant nothing to Junpei began to pour across the screen.
Oh, what are you doing now?
I'm going to try and brute force it.
Brute what?
Brute Force ist eigentlich so, ist eine schöne Methode fürs Hacking.
A brute force attack is... Well, the short version is that I just attack the thing head on. The long version?
Without looking up or slowing down, she began to explain.
A brute force attack is one of the simplest ways to break a cipher. It checks every possible combination until it finds the right one. For a complex cipher, it can take a very long time. I'm writing a program that would run an attack like that on its own. It's not the most elegant solution, certainly. But given the circumstances, there isn't much else I can do.
Even as she talked, her fingers never slowed or missed a key. Junpei couldn't help but feel a little awed.
Oh, but back to what we were talking about earlier.
What were we talking about?
The wireless display? It's kind of strange if you think about it, isn't it? How do I put it? Well, let's say you write a program that calculates an addition problem for you, all right? So you enter 1 + 1. The screen will show you 2. See? Isn't that strange?
No, not really.
Oh, come on now. Of course a caveman like you would think it was strange. You said so just a minute ago. You're just not getting it, are you? Who calculated 1 + 1?
The main computer, right? You said it connected to the monitor wirelessly.
Yeah, but someone who grew up in a cave wouldn't know that, right? they'd probably think that this thing here, the monitor, is doing the calculating. And once they've decided that, they'll start examining this monitor. They might poke the screen or something. Ah, I see the color changes when I press it here. Then they might investigate the hardware on the inside. Oh, I see. So this wire supplies the power. Eventually, they might even cut the wires. Ah, yes. Just as I expected. When this wire is cut, no results appear. Therefore, it must be this device which does the calculations.
Oh.
But the truth is that, just like you said, the computer is doing the calculating. But these cave people wouldn't know that, because they have no idea that the monitor and the computer are connected wirelessly.
Lotus continued to type. Junpei scratched his head.
So, what are you trying to say?
Nothing, really. It's just, I thought maybe, what if the relationship between human beings and our brains is like that?
Huh?
Well, let's say you stick a bunch of electrodes into parts of the brain. A scientist examining the signals they send out might say, interesting. So stimulating this part of the brain causes the person to see colors. That must mean this neuron cluster controls that function. Okay, let's see what happens when I cut out this part. Ah, just what I thought. Cutting off this part causes that function to cease. Therefore, human thought processes must occur in the human brain. See? Doesn't it sound the same? Maybe the brain is just an output device, like this monitor. Maybe our thought processes actually occur somewhere else, in a main body. We just don't know it. We never even think about it. Just like those cave people wouldn't know about wireless communications.
Das ist jetzt quasi eine Art philosophischer Hintergrund. Das finde ich bei den Spielen auch immer sehr interessant, bei den Zero Escape-Teilen, dass sowas sehr häufig vorkommt. Aber genug davon, also gehen wir weiter in der Story.
We can't imagine that there's some unknown medium that transfers information into our brains, where we experience that information as thoughts.
Junpei didn't say anything. Not so much because he had no retort. No, her argument just seemed silly, and he was a little surprised to be hearing something like it from someone like her.
The brain is just an output device. Human thought actually occurs somewhere else? That's just crazy talk.
Did Lotus really think that he wondered? It was like a creepy. It was a little creepy, Junpei thought. It sounded altogether too much like a bizarre cultish religion.
Maybe that's the cause of Seven's amnesia.
Oblivious to Junpei's increasing discomfort, Lotus continued.
If memory is actually stored somewhere else, in some sort of main body somewhere, maybe he hasn't forgotten anything at all. He's just having a difficult time accessing his memories because the monitor, his brain, has been damaged.
Huh.
I suppose that would explain aphasia and blindsight too. Perhaps they actually can speak or see. The monitor just isn't functioning properly. I guess people with prosopagnosia could be suffering from the same thing.
Wait a minute. What?
Das ist eine sehr interessante Krankheit. He knew what aphasia was from watching medical dramas on TV, and blindsight was easy enough to guess, but he'd never heard the word prosopagnosia before.
What? You've never heard of prosopagnosia?
Lotus spun around in a chair to look at him. Junpei just shrugged and shook his head.
No. What is it?
Well, put simply, it means a condition where the mind can't distinguish between human faces. In other words, my face would look the same as Clover's or even yours. So they can't remember faces, which is how most people recognize each other. That means that people with prosopagnosia have trouble recognizing even people they're close to.
Ich möchte kurz anmerken, auch wenn hier sehr viel paranormales Zeug vorkommt, was nicht so unbedingt realistisch ist. Prosopagnosie gibt es wirklich. Diese Leute erkennen Leute einfach nicht am Gesicht, wobei es dann auch auf die Schwere der Krankheit ankommt. Es gibt einige, die erkennen dann, okay, diese Nasenform, diese Augenfarbe, die Frisur, das ist der und der. Aber die erkennen das eben nicht als Gesicht, sondern als eine Art Gegenstand. Und normalerweise kannst du denen halt, also es gibt tatsächlich welche, bei denen ist das so stark ausgeprägt, da tauschen zwei Leute die Kleidung und der fällt dann darauf rein, wenn sie sagen, sie wären der andere. Das ist eine ziemlich üble Sache und ja. Da gibt es auch Leute, die haben dann zum Beispiel Beziehungen, aber die können ihren Partner auf offener Straße nicht erkennen, wenn er auf sie zukommt. Nicht bevor er sie anspricht. Das gibt es und das ist eine ganz seltsame Sache. Aber weiter.
Usually they can make do by associating people with other things. Their voices, their clothes, their hair.
Does that mean other people's faces look like blanks?
No, I don't think so. Well, you've seen monkeys, like in a zoo, right? To you and me, all the monkey faces look the same. Even though they've obviously got faces, it's almost impossible for a human to distinguish between them. The zoo staff that works with them would learn to identify different monkeys eventually, but you or I couldn't unless one had a scar or something else to set it apart. Well, that's how people would be to someone with prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia. Huh. I didn't even know that kind of thing existed.
Junpei did his best to act as though he... nochmal vorne. Junpei did his best to act as though the entire lecture hadn't gone entirely over his head.
And, what were we talking about?
The idea that your brain is just an output device, like a monitor.
Are you serious about that stuff?
Not really. I was just kidding for about half of it.
What about the other half?
Well, I guess I was just adulting.
Not funny.
Lotus's smile had something rather masochistic to it.
It's nothing more than a story I made up out of boredom. Don't take it seriously. It was the first thing that came to mind, and I just talked about it to kill time. But looks like I don't need to talk anymore.
Why?
I don't have to kill time any longer.
As she spoke, Lotus raised her right arm high and brought it down on the enter key.
Oh, then you finished that brute whatever thing?
I certainly did. And let's see what we got.
Chunks of text flickered on and off in quick succession, and then a line of numbers appeared, blinked, and disappeared. The screen cleared, and all that was left was the word accepted.
Piece of cake.
Lotus would have, clearly have patted herself on the back if it would not have made her look entirely ridiculous. After a few seconds, the accepted disappeared to be replaced with 9 squares arranged in a 3x3 square.
The screen changed again. What the hell is that?
No idea. Looks like a puzzle.
Suddenly, Lotus stood up.
Huh? Aren't you gonna, I don't know, do more computer stuff?
No, I can't do anymore. It won't let me do any more programming. See? The keyboard. Nothing. So, there's nothing more I can do. Well, I guess I'll leave this to you then, Junpei.
What?
Let me take a break, all right? I did my part.
Well...
He wasn't sure what to say to that. She certainly had done her part. In fact, without Lotus, they probably would have run completely aground. I shouldn't rely on... Nochmal von vorne, ich bin irgendwie gerade total durch den Wind. I shouldn't rely on other people so much, Junpei thought to himself.
I guess you're right. Thanks, Lotus.
No problem. And make sure you know when you should thank people.
Now, I better take care of this myself. No more relying on anyone else.
Junpei crossed his arms and stared at the puzzle shown on the screen. Hier ist der Tipp, den wir von Clover gekriegt haben, eigentlich das Wichtige, aber eigentlich spielt es auch keine Rolle, in welcher Reihenfolge wir das machen. Wichtig ist nur, dass wir diese 4 Punkte abarbeiten. Alright, I solved it. Did you hear a noise just now? Yeah, I did. It sounded like something unlocking. Where did it come from? Jetzt haben wir nämlich hier was. Look, Junpei. The lights on the lockers are green. Then we must have unlocked it with the computer puzzle. Was haben wir denn hier Schönes? There's more than one key in here. This one is small and looks like it's got some sort of machine. And this one has the Earth symbol on it. I think the Earth symbol matches the keyhole in a door on the A deck. Well, if that's the case, we probably don't need the Earth key right now. Alright then, Earth key. I'll just tuck you away deep in my pocket. Entschuldigung, war Junpei. I'll just tuck you away deep in my pocket. Now, as for the other key, war die ganze Zeit das Gesicht von Lotus da. Activation key. What key is this? From the shape of it, I'd say it's not for a door. Probably some sort of device. Oh! What is it? I wonder, do you think maybe this is the activation key for that thing? The activation key? Yes, it has to be. I feel good about this. It was just at that moment that he heard a voice behind him. It was Clover.
Hey, Junpei, do you have a minute?
He put the puzzle aside for the moment and walked over to Clover.
What's up?
I wanted to ask you something.
Hmm?
Junpei, you went into door 5 with my brother, right?
Das ist ein Gespräch, das man nur unter dieser Bedingung führt. Also wenn man nicht mit Snake durch Tür 5 gegangen ist, kommt dieses Gespräch nicht zustande.
Did you hear him say, like, anything weird?
Huh?
Why is she asking me this? Junpei wondered. The more he thought about it, however, the more it made sense. Snake had been gone for a long time. Clover was quite attached to her brother. Of course, she would have been worried about him.
Well, let me think.
He thought back to when he'd gone through door 5, hoping he might remember something, even a small something that would help her. However...
Sorry, Clover. I can't really think of anything. I mean, he did mention that his hearing exceeds that of a regular person, or something like that, but that's about it.
Okay.
Clover's words were barely audible. She nodded vaguely to Junpei and turned to walk away.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hmm?
Look, I don't know if I should ask you things, but if you don't mind, I was hoping you could tell me if, is Snake, was he born...
You're talking about his eyes?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't born blind. When he was a kid, he got in an accident. A really bad car accident. He couldn't see after that. And his arm.
His arm?
Yeah. My brother's left arm is... it's not like a normal person's arm. It's fake. It's not a real arm. The accident hurt him really bad. To save him, they had to cut off his arm.
Oh.
Is that all you wanted to ask me?
Hier möchte ich kurz sagen, das ist eine Information, die wir dringend im Kopf behalten sollten. Unter anderem, weil das zu einer Sache nicht passt. Aber ich werde jetzt nicht groß was erzählen, das wird nachher eh alles aufgeklärt. Jetzt nicht in dieser Folge, wahrscheinlich auch nicht in der nächsten und auch nicht in der übernächsten, aber wobei vielleicht da. Aber wir wissen halt, Unfall, dabei hat Snake sein Augenlicht verloren und seinen linken Arm. Und hat jetzt seitdem wohl eine Prothese. Talking about her brother had clearly taken a great deal out of Clover. Junpei nodded.
Look, I'm sorry for making you talk about all that painful stuff.
It's not that.
Clover only shook her head and walked off down the stairs. So. Und jetzt gehen wir hier hin und benutzen das Ding hier. This key. The shape sure makes it seem like it goes into this machine. Alright, I'm turning it on. Okay, the monitor is on now. And it's full of letters. It's showing some kind of warning. Power restored to experimental device. Emergency system will activate in the event of abnormal subject behavior. Okay. Typing on this keyboard isn't doing squat. Ist jetzt vielleicht irgendwas anders in dem Raum? There's the monitor. There are a whole lot of cables under this table. Oh, here. Junpei, this thing in here is on now. Yeah, that's cause we activated the power over on this side. Could you, like, play with it a little? Okay. Yeah? I'll turn this dial here. Turn, turn, turn. I don't think it's working. Nothing happened. Well, maybe she missed something. I should ask her to look around the room again. It's a rack. There's some cables on top of the copper. Blah blah. There's something sticking out of the mannequin's head, like wires or something. What the hell were they doing in there? Huh? Why is she all quiet now? They were doing experiments on humans. Probably. Oh man, now she looks sad. It's the monitor. There are a whole lot of cables under this table. I guess this drain is for water, huh? Well, there's nothing there. There's nothing here. Irgendwo muss sie was übersehen haben. It's a wash basin, more commonly known as a sink. Those are the stairs I just came down. The bars and the gate are just above me. I've got the scribblings from the table already. Irgendwas muss es doch noch geben. There's a mannequin lying on the exam table. Can't really see it very well from here, but it looks like there are a bunch of electrodes sticking out of its head. It's Vorschlag von Lotus. Maybe if you increase the voltage? Roger. Will do. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way to max voltage. Max voltage? Hey! Wait, Clover. Oh, shit. What? I think, Das war nicht vorgesehen. Oh my god! The mannequin's head! Oh man, that sounds like a fire alarm. Yeah, what the hell? Fire detected. Fire detected. The emergency system will be activated. Evacuate the room immediately. Jetzt ist nämlich hier das Ding auf. Junpei, look at the light. Yeah, it's green. The emergency system has activated and disabled the lock. Now we can save Clover. Junpei! Come on, kid, jump. She's safe. Oh man, that smoke is some serious business. Time to close this door again, I think. Clover, are you okay? Are you hurt? Damn, she's coughing so hard she can't even talk. Of course I'm not alright. What the heck took you so long, you big jerk? I was almost dead. Ich bin sofort hier rübergegangen, Mensch. Schnauz mich doch nicht so an. Sorry, I was going as fast as I could. You two can do this later. Right now we need to get the hell out of here. That fire is not going to stay in that room forever. Ja. Ich stelle mal kurz meinen Stuhl wieder ein bisschen anders ein, während wir den Escape Room verlassen. Und wenn wir jetzt hier schauen, wir sind schon kurz wieder vor diesem konvergierenden Punkt, das mache ich in dieser Folge alles noch. Junpei, Clover and Lotus leapt out of the laboratory, slamming the door shut behind them.
Whew, thank God we got out of there.
Yeah, finally.
Oh, yeah.
All three collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily. Junpei's heart was pounding in his chest, and his whole body felt weak. He inhaled gulps of clear air, and with each one, he could feel his body begin to calm down.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
They nodded to each other and started off down the hallway. Before long, they found a few new doors, but all of them were locked.
Damn, none of these open. They're all locked.
How about that one?
The final door sat in a corner of the hallway.
Let's hope this is the door with the prize.
Junpei grabbed the door handle and was about to pull it open when a voice cried out behind him. It was neither Clover nor Lotus, but he recognized it. There was no doubt the voice belonged to...
Jumpy!
Huh?
He spun around. There, at the other end of the hall, Junpei saw human figures running toward him. 3 of them.
June? Santa! 7!
They stopped short in front of Junpei and his companions, grasping for air. Gasping, nicht grasping. Man kann nicht nach Luft greifen. Wobei, theoretisch, aber es ist nicht sehr erfolgreich.
Hey, what are you guys doing here?
What? But we didn't...
Before he could finish, Clover spoke.
Hey guys, could you come take a look at this?
She was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found.
Hey, on the wall.
A map of the ship's interior?
It says C deck.
So it's the map for this floor then?
Door 7. And... Door 8. Yep, they both eventually end up at this hallway.
In fact,
Yeah, isn't that what I said? We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. That's how the nonary game works.
Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again.
Wait a sec. This leads to...
As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to weariness.
Oh,
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go.
yeah.
As one, they all moved back toward the door Junpei had only a moment ago been ready to open.
Oh, almost forgot. We should keep this.
He pulled the map of the ship's interior off the wall, put it in his pocket, and followed the others. The 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke, without looking back at the other 5.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
They nodded in their silent assent. With a deep breath, Santa threw open the door. They pulled through the doorway and into the room. Even without looking around, each one of them knew where they were.
I knew it.
They were just where the map had said they would be.
We're back. In the hospital room.
Ist immer noch nicht ganz da. Ach, wie man übrigens sieht, diese roten Schlüssel. Hier muss man keine bestimmten Gesprächsoptionen kriegen. Die kriegt man einfach nach und nach. Das sind halt immer Schlüsselgespräche, die geführt werden müssen. Und wenn wir dann stattdessen quasi hier unten den Weg gehen, den man gerade sieht, dann kämen wir hier zu einem alternativen Ende. Da wäre jetzt quasi der richtige Weg für gelegt. Das machen wir aber dieses Mal nicht. Wäre ja noch schöner. Ich glaube, jetzt kommt der Punkt.
I see. I believe I understand what you're saying.
Yep, jetzt sind wir hier. Und darum speichere ich jetzt ab. Und beim nächsten Mal machen wir dann weiter und sehen dann das letzte schlechte Ende, bevor wir dann zu den Enden gehen, die ich wirklich interessant und gut finde. Also das sind dann halt die Enden, die wichtig werden. Es liegen danach noch 3 Enden streng genommen vor uns. Ja, was heißt streng genommen? Es liegen danach noch 3 Enden vor uns. Aber erstmal war es das für heute. Ich hoffe, ihr habt Spaß, lasst konstruktive Kritik, vielleicht ein Däumchen nach oben da, wenn es euch soweit gefallen hat. Meinungen, Ideen, Theorien, speziell nach dem, was wir über Snakes Arm gehört haben, in den Kommentaren. Bis dahin, Cheerio.